Hey guys, welcome back to Texas Young Guns. In this week's video, we are going to review South Toledo Bend State Park. This state park is located in Louisiana, obviously, and it is located on Toledo Bend Lake. Toledo Bend is a lake that was flooded some eons ago. There's a big story about it, about how like it wasn't done being cut, but then it was accidentally flooded early. So there's like tons of stumps and stuff on this lake. But it's an awesome fishing lake. We've been there for fishing tournaments and all that, so we kind of knew about this lake, which is why we went to this park, and we were not disappointed. So the state park is located near Anacoco, however you say
probably
it. Anacoco, probably, maybe. And there's not a lot around there, so not a lot of places to shop. You pretty much have to bring what you need.
There's nowhere to shop.
Yeah.
Gas station, maybe.
This is one of those locations where you kind of have to bring like what you need when you come.
So when we pulled up to the park, we had arrived later at night. We did notice that it looked like it had been freshly redone. Like all the roads were nice, all the pavement was new. Then when we pulled in, we saw the sites were new. So I looked it up and they had just kind of reopened there recently after a big kind of redo renovation of the park.
Yeah, it was really nice to see that the state would put money into something like that. Obviously, they had a beautiful scenery. It's nice to see them taking care of the park like that. All the sites were fresh black pavement. Everything was super smooth and nice. Even the entrance was probably one of the nicest state park entrances I've seen. Just the office and the setting coming into the park. So they did a good job making it look really nice.
So at this state park, it's very similar to our Texas state parks. You have the basic amenities that come with it. You have a fire ring, you have a table. The premium ones have these really fancy decks, which are really nice. We didn't do those, but we kind of looked at some people that did, and it's a nice deck so you can just kind of lay all your stuff out. There were, I believe, some sites that had full hookups. We didn't stay at a full hookup site, but I believe there are some. So you have the dump stations, and you know, you have to go drop your trash off. So it's not like a resort, it's like a true state park, but we prefer those anyway.
Yeah, so with the state park, obviously you get huge sites. So unlike RV resorts where you're kind of in there, you know, like a herd of cattle or something, however you want to call it, state parks generally have huge sites, and this site is no different. Man, it seemed like we had a huge area in between us and the lake to kind of let our dogs play and just have a good time. Like she said, our neighbors had the premium site, so we were kind of eyeballing them, you know, checking it out. They have a really nice deck. One downside to the repave, and I don't know if it's really a downside, but it's something to be aware of, is back when it was originally paved, the concrete was kind of like level with the dirt and the grass, right? Well, since they pretty much added pavement to the top of it, all the sites that you pull into are like really elevated. So in our case, when our stairs came down, you had like an additional step down that was pretty uncomfortable. Yeah,
we got just lucky enough to where like literally our stairs barely fit on the pavement. Whereas if that wouldn't have happened, we would have had to rehook up and realign and do all that kind of thing. So you might want to check your stairs before you do
that final setup, you know, make sure your stairs are going to come down on the proper space. So the sites are big, but that repave does kind of narrow them down as far as that goes. And hopefully the footage I'm showing right now is showing you what I'm talking about.
So one thing that does separate the state parks that we've been to from the state park here in Louisiana is it has Wi-Fi, which is odd because usually when you go to a state park, cell service is like desolate or few and far in between. They actually had Wi-Fi. Now, it happened to be down when we were there, which seems to be a theme with us. Wherever we go, it's down. But we could see the, what was that, like the booster or whatever. It was literally right next to us. So they do have Wi-Fi there. But we did look out because they did have awesome cell reception, so we could just use our hotspots on our phones and do all the things. So that ended up working out.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi signal was really strong. It just wasn't working. So even if you were hooked up to it, you couldn't get anything. But yeah, just keep in mind if you have AT&T or maybe one of those other ones, it may not be as good. But if you have some kind of Verizon-based service, like we have Visible, which is a Verizon company, the service was fantastic. So one really cool feature of this park that I personally would do, she would probably never do, is in addition to the normal RV sites, they have these tents. And they're not just tents, they're actually pretty decent, like thick, heavy material tents.
They're like glamping tents.
Yeah, and I think that's actually what they call it on their website, is glamping tents.
Oh.
Yeah. You're not allowed to pull your vehicle up to these sites.
Yeah, they're
actually
hike in only.
Yeah, so you really have to park your car in a parking area, grab all of your stuff, and backpack into these tents. There's lots of positives with that, as well as negatives, of course, depending on who you are. Positives are these tents are kind of on a peninsula, so you're secluded from most of the park. So if your goal is to kind of glamp in nice weather, you know, no electricity, all that kind of stuff, this will seclude you from all the noise, all the car traffic, and you can enjoy that experience. Those sites come with like lean back chairs and trash cans. They even come with a wooden toilet with like a plastic bin. I was brave enough to actually look inside it, not really thinking before I did that. So, you know, those conversations will be really interesting with your family, like who's gonna empty those, but
I still have so many questions about that. And then also to take note of that, I would never go in a tent. But you should be aware that there may be individuals out there who might go in your tent and you be in there.
yeah, so I had to check them out. You know, it was a risk because you don't know if they're inside or not, but I checked it out.
I don't know how Louisiana prisons are, so I was not going to even attempt that one.
But you know, they do have a bed. The particular beds there were like covered in bugs and stuff, but I'm sure they clean that out before you get there, I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But to be fair, these particular sites are set up in a really cool part of the park where they pretty much have, in my opinion, the best views on the park. Their views far exceeds what you get at an RV spot, but you know, it is that glamping atmosphere with no power, no water, that kind of stuff.
Sign me up.
Something else that's really cool about this park, most state parks have like cabins and stuff, which this one did. But this one had like really nice houses that you can rent with like designated parking areas. We've never seen a state park that has that kind of setup. Now we've seen ones that have like
the shelters.
The shelters, basically. You know, we've even seen ones that have shelters with like an AC unit in the window. But generally in state parks, it's about as nice as it gets. But for some reason, this park has like really nice houses that you can rent for like a large family. Of course, they're on the water and all that.
And they come furnished, from what I gathered.
Yeah, so it's
like,
essentially,
you know, like your pots and pans and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty much you can just move in with your groceries and stuff, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I think even VRBO. I was looking at their website earlier. VRBO is hooked up, so you could actually rent those through VRBO if you choose.
He also tried to break into one of those, but he didn't get us lucky.
I did not, making me seem like a criminal. This park also is unique because not only does it have like walking trails, which is pretty standard for most state parks, they have ATV trails. So they have ATV designated trails. You can bring your four-wheelers or your side-by-sides, and you can use them. And we saw a lot of that there, actually. Something else that's unique about this park, in addition to many things, I guess, is they actually had a beach. So in their swimming area, they have a bunch of sand that they trucked in, and kind of made like a beachy area. Now it's not like Florida Destin Beach, but it's, you know, it's sand, I guess.
Yeah, it's sand.
And even though it was a little chilly, people were in the water, which we did not understand.
Crazy.
Yeah.
There's also lots of hiking trails that you can go on. There's not really a good map, you know, with your trails.
Right, yeah.
So you kind of have to wing it. And we went everywhere trying to find a trail map, and there really wasn't one.
Yeah, even the park rangers in front told us that there wasn't going to be a good map. We scoured the internet and all that, but once you do it, you kind of realize you don't really need it. They're pretty self-explanatory.
Because the trail that we went on was paved. It was concrete. You know, it was a really nice, easy trail that everybody could do. And then there was also more of a primitive trail that was kind of sketchy for me because I don't like snakes and bugs and all of that.
I'm surprised you even said the word.
I know. It was, I had my dogs, so I had to, you know.
Yeah, but the reward at the end of that trail was nice because it ends basically at the lake, and you kind of have like a shell beach you can walk on.
It was almost like an abandoned beach. Like, you're probably looking at the footage now of like our dogs just kind of running what it looks like on a beach because it was so windy there the weekend we were there. The waves were just crashing. It was, I mean, our dogs were very confused, as was I. It was almost like you were at a beach. But so although that trail was more primitive and not as landscaped, the reward was really nice.
Yeah, the Toledo Bend, that lake is known for its wind and rough water, so it definitely showed that to us while we were there.
Yeah.
So we keep saying that there's a ton of unique stuff about this park, and I'm just going to keep adding on. So most state parks have like centralized bathrooms. In fact, I would say most RV parks in general do. State parks are usually a little bit lower class bathrooms, but they get the job done, you know. If you just want to take a shower, it's fine. One unique thing about this park is they actually had washers and dryers. We have never seen that. Yeah, so if you need to wash clothes while you're at a state park, this is a good one to be at.
Yeah, because I noticed when I was going around, like when you go to a state park, they put your checkout date on the tag. And as I was kind of looking around, I noticed that there were people that were there for an extended amount of time. So if you're there for a long amount of time, I can see where it would be a need for you to have somewhere where you can wash your clothes.
Yeah, it was something unique about that state park. As far as price goes, you're going to pay somewhere in the $20 to $30 range. I think what they call the improved sites, which are like the repaved ones like we stayed at, your basic site is about $28 a night. If you want to bump up to the, what do they call it, premium sites.
Those are probably the ones with the nice big decks.
Yeah, they're really not that much more, $33 a night on the weekdays.
That's why everybody likes state parks, because you can stay there relatively cheap.
Yeah, the only thing though is they don't have that many premium sites. So if you want it, you need to book early. I would think it's worth it with the deck and all that. It's pretty cool, but pretty reasonable price for an RV campground. And the one last feature we'll talk about is the Nature Center. They have a massive building in the back of the park. Inside they have several booths dedicated to just informing you about bald eagles, which are frequent on that lake, all these different critters, maybe the history of it, all that. Really cool nature center. I highly recommend stopping in. It only takes about 5 or 10 minutes. And something else that was really cool there that we've never seen at a state park is they were using it as a wedding venue. So I don't know if the park advertises this or someone just got lucky with a really good idea. But it is beautiful there. If you have your wedding set up in the middle like they did, and your crowd is kind of looking up at you getting married, you have this beautiful view of the lake in the background. It is absolutely perfect. We've never considered a state park for a wedding venue, but if we knew about that.
I mean, it's definitely a smaller wedding. I would say, maybe 50 to maybe 60 people. Yeah. It's more of an intimate wedding, but it had a great backdrop.
Absolutely.
When we were there, they were having like a big concert event, so I don't know if this is something that they do on a regular basis. I'm sure on the website you can check it out, but it seems like they try and have events in this kind of like a courtyard area. So that was really cool because we just kind of got to listen to music all day long. We never walked over there, but they had like food trucks and events and things like that. So it seems like they really try and get events out there that the community can go to, which is fun. Something different.
So the park is set up for special events. Kind of makes the weekend a little bit more interesting. For us, we got lucky because the concert was so loud that it echoed through the whole park. So we got a free concert. It could have been
because of the wind too, and that's
true.
That's something I know we keep mentioning, the wind, but I really think it is something worth mentioning because it was so windy while we were there. I mean, we had our solo stove and we had to put it in front of the RV so he could even get it going because the wind was so bad. Now, as we walked to the different parts of the state park, some parts were not as windy because they had structure to block it, but we were on a water site, so we were getting the whole brunt of the water. Of the wind. So that's something to consider. Like, I wouldn't put anything out because it would just be blown away probably.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, this lake is known for the wind. So
yeah, it's nicknamed Toledo Wind. So
yeah, so if you're gonna be on the water, which I recommend, they're nice sites.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but it's going to be windy.
Yeah.
How many Texas stars would you give the Louisiana State Park?
So for categorizing just state parks, I would say this is pretty good. I still have a special place in my heart for Huntsville State Park. Yeah, but out of 10 stars, I'd probably give it a solid. I'd probably give it a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a really nice park. The only downer for me was, the repave was well done, but kind of made the sites awkward.
Yeah, very tall. There's not a lot to do in the area.
Yeah, so this is definitely a destination park to stay at. So.
Yep. Well, that about wraps up our review of South Toledo Bend State Park. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and we will see you on the next one.
Remember to like the video and subscribe to our channel, guys, for more content. See you in the next one. Bye.